Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening. Once again, welcome to another episode of the Louis Sports Network. Smash the like, make sure to hit the subscribe, make sure your post notifications are turned on, make sure you're sharing on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday. Peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you guys for always taking the time to watch my videos. From the bottom of my heart, man. Without you guys, there is no me. On to the video. We are going to talk about my favorite rivalry in the WWE of 2007. What am I talking about? Two of my all-time favorite WWE superstars, and that would be The Undertaker, and that would be the Animal Batista. The Phenom, the dead man, against the Animal Batista. What made this rivalry so special? The way that I compare this rivalry would be kind of like the short feud that Undertaker and Diesel had. And the reason that I compare it, it's really not because of the build-up. It's really more so because of the match that they had. The very first match encounter that they had, and that was at WrestleMania. So just to kind of recap, The Undertaker wins the Royal Rumble. He was the 30th entrant. Batista was world champion. He had just defeated King Booker at the 2006 Survivor Series. And this was Batista's road back from the triceps injury that caused him to miss 8 months of action after he... I think Batista had heard it maybe like in a house show, or I think it was because according to WWE.com, I think the storyline was he was hurt by Mark Henry that caused him to get the injury, and I think it might have happened that way, but I think I heard that it was a house show. But anyway, getting off the subject, but fast forward anyway. So yeah, Booker gets defeated by Batista. Batista's in his second world title reign. Taker wins the Rumble. So now it comes to the decision on who is Undertaker going to face at WrestleMania. And at the time, ECW had just came back as a brand. The WWE had purchased ECW, and so they decided to include it as part of the tri-brand split between Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. Bobby Lashley was its champion, and Bobby was white hot. John Cena was in his third reign as WWE champion. The reign of terror of John Cena in terms of the 06-07 title reign. What is it, 380 days as champion was Cena that year? But anyway, Taker won the Rumble as the 30th entrant, and he had a classic final standoff between him and Shawn Michaels. Oh my God, the finish to that was incredible. It was so excellent. It was so good, and it sucks because I kind of wish Shawn and Taker would have fought each other at No Way Out. That would have been nice, but I'm glad that it kind of got saved a little bit for 2009 because that was the build up to that was really great work, and I'll do a future video on that. But anyway, getting back to Batista, so Taker had to choose between Cena, Batista, and Bobby Lashley, and it looked like he was gonna choose John Cena because Taker was kind of looking at him, and he kind of looked at Bobby Lashley like, impressive, but do I want an ECW title? I don't know. So he kind of went to John Cena, and then it looked like he was gonna go to Bobby Lashley and then lean a little bit to Cena, and then he came back and then to Batista and did the traditional, thumb across the throat, going across the neck sign to Batista. And Batista put the title up, just to show that he was not intimidated, and, he was honored to face Taker at WrestleMania. I was so excited because in the back of my mind when I'm watching that Raw segment, I'm like, Taker, you better pick Batista, because I said, I don't feel like I wasn't going to be invested too much in Taker against Cena. I would have watched it, but there was just something about that match that told me I just didn't want to watch it. Just to me, with how off Cena is in terms of footwork. And then with Bobby Lashley, I don't know how Taker was going to do with Bobby Lashley because he had never been with him in the ring. So I kind of wondered how chemistry-wise they would have been. Something tells me that they probably wouldn't have meshed well at chemistry-wise. So I feel like no. And then when I looked at Batista, I was so excited because I said when I watched Batista in the ring, I said he brought the agility that complemented Taker's in-ring style. And so it reminded me of Kevin Nash, not in terms of the build-up to the match, but it reminded me more so of Taker's in-ring work. I felt like Batista's style and Taker's style would have meshed well just because not only is Taker quick and agile for a guy his size, Batista is pretty agile for a guy at his size. So I said, damn, we might get a better version of Taker versus Diesel. That was the first thing that I thought in my mind. And I was like, the best part is Batista's champion. That's the best part about it. And what I loved about it was that Batista showed no signs of intimidation whatsoever and wanted to go at the dead man. He looked at it as an honor and as a challenge and as a test to see how good Batista is. So we go to No Way Out. And at that time, I think Shawn Michaels had already became the #1 contender. As I mentioned, him and Taker had that really nice finish. Shawn was trying to win the Rumble, and that was because Triple H had tore his quad on the right side of his leg, because originally it was supposed to be Triple H and Cena Part 2 for WrestleMania 23, but Triple H got injured, so they ended up putting Shawn as his replacement. And Cena and Michaels had a classic. They had a great match to end the show. But the tag team match between Taker, Batista, Shawn, and Cena was classic. I'll watch that match at some point again. I really love that match. It was really good. And I remember Taker had chokeslammed Batista when Batista had put, his arm up just to let him show that he was the world champion. And Batista said that he was going to get him back. He was going to get paid back. He didn't know when or where. And so Taker and Batista were, they were enjoying themselves. They were hyped. They looked like they were about to beat Shawn and John in the tag team match. And that was when Batista pulled the Undertaker and then put the spine buster on him and then decided to change. And I was like, okay, now this is going to be good. And I love the fact that they try to fight each other during the final SmackDown segment before WrestleMania. We get to WrestleMania. Very, very good match. It would have been a classic had it gone a little bit longer. I feel like the match was a little short. The match was so good for what it did. The match had really good quality. I love the back and forth. I love how physical it was. I love the fact that Taker and Batista both were able to slow the pace down and then know when to speed it up. That's what I was really impressed with both guys. They made it really entertaining for how short the match was. And I feel like they needed a little bit more time. And to me, I felt that the finish could have been a little bit better if you had Batista kick out of the tombstone. They didn't do that. Taker wins on the first tombstone after shoving Batista over to the turnbuckle, and he hit sternum first. And, Taker becomes world champion. So I was happy. Taker went 15-0, and I was like, Batista, he did great. I just wish that they had more time, and I wish they would have made Batista just a little bit stronger to kind of give Taker a little bit of doubt. And one of my favorite moments of that match, two of my favorite spots. Batista with the running power slam off the table. That was a nice spot. And then obviously Undertaker flying off the rope. The man was freaking 42 years old at that point in time, and he was still showing the bounce and the athletic ability to fly over the third rope like if it was 1997-98 all over again, and freaking took out Batista. I was like, yo. Because I remember Taker had did it to Mark Henry, the previous year in the casket match at Mania. So Taker's a champion, and then we get to Backlash. Batista comes out, congratulates Undertaker, says he wants his rematch. Undertaker shakes his head. Then we go to Backlash. Better match, much longer, great storytelling. A classic match, definitely should watch it. It's a cool spot at the very end. I know Undertaker did the leg drop off of the barricade onto Batista on one of the tables. Cool moment. They're on the stage. Taker looked like he was about to either throw Batista off the stage or try to tombstone him. Batista comes off his shoulders. Taker turns around. They put the spear. You see sparks flying, and you see like pieces of like the Titantron stanchion fall down. And it was like a whole, the holy thing moment. And it was labeled as a draw pretty much. Taker retained the title, walked out on his own power. Both guys were hurt, and it's crazy because I think Undertaker had a tricep injury at the time, and Batista had a hamstring injury. And I was like, damn, these dudes are like they wear their battle scars, on their bodies. For them to be banged up like that, coming in with an injury, make no excuses, and still put on a show for the fans, just incredible. And much respect to both guys. So then you have the steel cage match in May. Another classic match. Both guys bloody. Both guys escaped the cage at the same time. I got to rewatch that steel cage match again. It ended up being a draw because both guys hit the ground at the same time. Taker retains his title. But here's what happens. The story takes a twist. Mark Henry injures The Undertaker. Taker has to be written off of TV for like about 4 months. In comes Edge with the fully won briefcase that he just stole from Mr. Kennedy after Kennedy had won it at WrestleMania 23 in the Money in the Bank ladder match. At that point, the third Money in the Bank ladder match in WrestleMania history. Edge hits Taker with the briefcase and then knocks him out with a spear to win his third World Heavyweight Championship. And then Batista starts to feud with Edge, and they had some good matches. The match of One Night Stand was good, the steel cage match for the world title, and they also fought at Judgment Day too. A little side note for Batista after I mentioned about what happens when him and Undertaker get back. So ladies and gentlemen, then Undertaker comes back, faces Mark Henry at Unforgiven. Then we go to Cyber Sunday. And remember, this started out as Taboo Tuesday in 2004, but they decided to change it to Cyber Sunday. So on Cyber Sunday, Undertaker's the number one contender again. He's fighting Batista for the world title. Batista's in his third reign. And once he's in his third reign after defeating the Great Khali, he fights Undertaker in a regular match, but it has a special guest referee. And the referee that was voted by the fans, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Remember, they have fought each other 3 times, and at this point, Undertaker had 1 victory with 2 draws. So nothing was really declared. All you know is that Taker had 1 match, and Batista had never beaten The Undertaker at that point. So they have a really good match, and then Batista gets the win that he needs, to tie the series, so to speak. 2 draws, 1-1 apiece. In a great match, Austin raises the hand of Batista. Then we got Survivor Series. Survivor Series, classic Hell in a Cell match. Edge returns from his pectoral muscle tear, knocks out The Undertaker with a camera. Batista retains his World Heavyweight Championship in a classic Hell in a Cell match. Great storytelling in that one. And that pretty much kind of ended the rivalry, even though Taker, Batista, and Edge fought each other in a triple threat match the very next month in Armageddon, in which Edge wins his 4th championship, world title. But my point is, Batista ends up winning the series 2-1 over Taker with 2 draws. And a little side note with Batista. Did you know that Batista was in every single pay-per-view in 2007? Let me show you the recap from the very beginning. January, fights Mr. Kennedy after Kennedy wins a Beat the Clock challenge. And originally, Taker was supposed to face Batista at the Rumble. That would have been nice, but I'm glad they saved it for WrestleMania. It helps with the build-up. Was in the classic tag team match with him and Taker going up against Cena and Michaels. You got WrestleMania. Taker and Batista for the world title. Backlash. Taker and Batista for the world title. Judgment Day. Taker is out of action. Edge comes in. He fights Edge for the world title. June. One Night Stand. Right? July. Great American Bash goes up against the Great Khali and Kane. SummerSlam, Batista goes up against the Great Khali. September, Unforgiven, triple threat match between him, Khali, and Rey Mysterio for the world title. Cyber Sunday defeats The Undertaker with special referee Stone Cold Steve Austin. Next month in November, defeats Undertaker at Survivor Series in Hell in a Cell. And then Armageddon was in the triple threat match with Taker and Edge, in which Edge won. So Batista was in every pay-per-view in 2007. That's crazy. But what I love, I just wish, my only gripe about the rivalry was the fact that I wish Batista would have looked a little stronger, like at WrestleMania, to kind of really give it. What I loved about it, it did have a big fight feel. And like I said, I compare Batista and Taker to like Taker against Kevin Nash, but just a better version of Taker versus Diesel. Because you had the agility, you had the physical, hard-hitting back and forth, which both Taker and Diesel had, which was good. But I felt that the one with Batista was even better. I just wish that they had more time. But ladies and gentlemen, there's your boy with another one, Taker versus Batista. Let me know what you guys think of that 2007 rivalry between Taker and the Animal, the Phenom, the Dead Man. Bless up, live, laugh, love, thank you guys for watching.